Because I remember when I went to Plaza's back to school night, the first time I went there, and John came with us, he was talking to Lana and Jim, and I thought he was making a new friend, and I was so excited. Here, he had worked with Jim. He had hired his company, and Lana had worked with Jim, and so John knew them before Plaza, and we didn't know that we were both bringing our kids there. And so it was a wonderful night when we first met them, when I first met them. Because little did I know, John and Lana and Jim already knew one another. And I would really have missed that if that didn't happen. And that was the start of a great friendship.
Yeah. Well, when I first met Lana, our kids, Ben had, that at Irwin they used to have those K1-2 classes where they just threw everybody in one class. And Patrick and Edward and I think Sam was in there, or Sam was in there. Patrick and Sam and Ben, they were in kindergarten and Ben was in second grade. But Lana, I kept hearing about Lana. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you know Lana Rubright," and I was kind of adrift. I didn't really feel close to anybody. I was kind of not in a community. And we met, and she started to pull me in. Like she was always calling me and saying, "This is happening. Come along," and she would include me in things. And I was just amazed. I was thinking, this woman who everybody knows and who is so creative and who everybody loves is pulling me in. And then once she could perceive that I was sort of like connected, she kind of backed off a little, but she'd check in just to make sure I was connected. And that was so affirming.
I think the reason we are in this community is because of Lana. Lana introduced us and got us moving in. Really.
And her boobs.
Well, that was weird. That was your
Well, in other words, she was here. She and Jim were here before you moved in, before you came to.
Well, we were actually living in another neighborhood when we met her, but I guess it was our children. Was it our children?
I don't know how. Because their kids are older than our kids.
We made it in for Debbie and Tommy, and Atlanta kept inviting us.
I think we got introduced to the group. Mm-hmm. And we came into the group, and you were hot for Jim, and then there were Lana's boobs there. And so that's how we kind of went to that.
Sure. Oh, honey.
I don't know. We always called it LaLa Land, right? So it was just an attraction because that was just a warm, loving place to be.
When our kids, especially Kevin, discovered, what's the address? Winter Street? When he discovered
209.
the Rubright's house, he thought he died and gone to heaven. He just wanted to be over there all the time.
I wanted to be there too. We just frequently
We all come in, eat dessert, talk to everyone, have a great time. I've had probably more fun over at that house than at this house.
Kids have always been at their house, constantly.
But yeah, all those memories in the attic.
Oh, good old days.
Making those forts behind bed frames and stuff.
It was a home away from home for my kids too, and I'm really grateful for that. And especially when Emily was dating a guy 4 years older than she was when she was 15, and that she met when she was 12, and Lana could really identify with that and was very helpful with Emily's father. And I really appreciate all the support from Lana for our kids.
Her and Jim, the direct result of why we've all stayed together. I mean, their house was somewhere where we all could go and all could be together, because I know at my house, I could only have 3 people over, but if it's Patrick's house, that's 5, 6, 7, 8 of our friends that all could be together and have fun. And that's how we got to know each other and why we're connected and why we know the Rubrights so well.
Yeah, a lot of dinner parties over there, I remember. Always a great time. Welcomed everyone. We had huge groups of people in that house all sitting around the same table, Even though it was their family event, it would be all the Rubright families and their cousins and uncles, etc. And we were always welcomed, it wasn't oh, this is our family event, we don't want random kids coming in. It was always oh yeah, come over to Rick and Chris's, come eat dinner with us, which is always nice to be accepted into like another family.
Their childhoods wouldn't have been the same without the Rubrights, without the door always unlocked, always open. Lana and Jim would wake up in the morning and then sort of assess, who's here this morning? And it would be bodies laying around, and everybody just always felt it was a home away from home for every child.
Lana and Jim, their whole family is like that. They want to include everybody. They don't want anybody to be left out. And that's sort of the open door policy they have at their house.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've once been invited there, you're kind of always invited there.
Lana and I were kind of like married. We worked together. We've debated on how long it's actually been. 15 years maybe, we're not really sure, but it was almost like a marriage in terms of we've had some knockdown dragouts, but we've always felt comfortable enough I think we always knew that we were both in it for the long haul, and that we could scream and yell and say things we'd regretted later, but we'd always come back and apologize and work it out.
This is the Robin and Lana bear. It came to me on a Valentine's Day. And it reminds me of Lana because she is so lovable. And she's also very creative. I think we have the mermaid.
Where did that come from?
This is Lana.
Lana made it.
Lana made the mermaid. We have more mermaids.
She was there.
I should have brought one.
And her creativity with her jewelry making. Who could forget that? So Lana is one of the most creative people I know, and she's also one of the most lovable. And I want her to know that.
She's extremely entertaining. I mean, she and Jim honored us by coming to a work party. I would throw my work Christmas party every year, and for some reason we asked them to come, and they came. And not that the people I worked with were not fun, but she entertained them the entire evening. I mean, she was the most wonderful addition to that party, and we were so glad they came. And we laughed our asses off.
Well, I mean,
Wonderful.
If you're talking about Lana, you got to talk about the laugh. She has this laugh. It's like bells tinkling or a mountain stream bubbling. It's just contagious, and it's kind of musical, and it's just a part of who she is.
The other thing she does easily is cry, and I don't mean to be like sad or negative, but when she's feeling something really deeply, the tears come very easily too, which is so nice to see somebody that can be vulnerable, and then the next minute she's laughing. You know, her range of emotion is just amazing.
She's comfortable with that.
Yeah, and it hurts to kind of see somebody be sad, but she's so authentic with it. She loves Jim Rubright. She talks about Jim, you know, she really, you know, sometimes she talks about him, it makes me just sweat. Edit that out. think
think
is
it's
really
a
neat
gift.
the way she painted the British flag on Patrick's ceiling, which required geometric skills that I don't know anybody else who has, and she just kind of
hours like just to
but
get the tape.
that she could do it just blows
She
me.
has
I looked
the
at that
mind.
flag and I went, oh my gosh, you know, she could have been a geometer.
Yeah,
So what is
very amazing mind. She's an incredible navigator. She's an incredible engineer. And she has never really acknowledged it. You haven't. You have never really acknowledged it. How brilliant you are. I think she grew up thinking she was not that smart, and she's really brilliant. I mean, she figures out things all the time.
I have a bracelet that she made me years ago for my birthday, and I have worn it so much that the beads, I don't know, a third of the beads have broken off.
She kind of inspires creativity in the rest of us.
That's right.
I mean, that jewelry reminds me, if you think of our beach trips, she has, I mean, I remember one year her bringing the knitting. She had this gorgeous scarf and was like, we want to make one too. And we went to the yarn store and everybody knitted gorgeous scarves, and those who didn't know how to knit learned, and it just inspired us all to be creative. And another year it was collage. Anna brought magazines and the collage medium and scraps of cardboard, and I remember thinking, nah, but then I sat down and I started collaging, and I just felt this calm. Well, it was partly the wine too, but and we were all just transfixed by the collaging. And then jewelry making one year at the beach. It was just like she brings that to all of us.
She made the DVD for the boys' graduation. Spent hours doing that, putting all those photos together, and with
Never
the music.
having done it before.
Never having done it before.